We're joined by Promise Emmanuel. He's the Senior Special Assistant to the Kogi State Governor on cybercrimes. Promise, you're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us, Promise. Promise, would like to know the current investigative status of this case and what concrete steps have authorities taken so far, if you will, please.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Nigerians. I'd like to first give kudos to the Nigerian police, Kogi State Command, because they acted swiftly. Because when I took the case, because the uncle reached out to me, someone based in the UK, and then he told me what was going on. You know, I was a bit angry because earlier on he said he had reached out. He had reached out to security personnel and then told the person he had this going on with his child, and then the response was that kids of nowadays and how they dress, you know, they also try to lure me. And I was really very angry. I was very angry because the individual involved, I didn't even know him. So I swung it into action, and then kudos to CSP Williams Aya. He's one of the task force team members I work with. So when we got the facts of the case, his men swung into action. We invited the girl and his mother, and then there was some interrogation. So men of the Nigerian police force actually told her to sustain the tempo of their conversation because he had traveled from Port Harcourt to Lokoja the previous day to see this young girl because of, you know, that same purpose of trying to lure her. So they kept conversing over the night, and then were actively involved in the process. We're telling her what to say, what to do, or up until he gave out his location where he was, and then the Nigerian police force in Mufti mobilized their men to the site. They trailed them down to where he got to the lodge, and he was trying to, you know, make an entry into the room where he wanted to, you know, commit the crime with the child, and then he was apprehended. So far so good. We have a responsible government in Kogi State because we do not take such matters with levity. The administration of His Excellency Alhaji Usman Ododo frowns at such things, especially things that has to do with the girl child, and that involves a minor as well. So we have currently the Ministry of Women Affairs who are very interested in the case. They are on it. Also, the Commissioner for Police is also very interested in this case. And then so far so good. The individual is still in custody, and then investigations are ongoing. So since I cannot speak for the police force, except you ask me specific questions, then I would respond.
Thank you so much, I promise. My first question would generally be, the man has been apprehended and he is in custody. Have we received any confession from him?
Well, there were preliminary investigation from our own part before he was even put in the cell. And then we found out that most of the things the girl said were true. First, he's been conversing with her for almost a year now. And then when we asked him how he got the phone number, he said he volunteered to send her data. So when he sent her data, he had a number, and from then he's been talking to her. So I think there's been, between that time and now, there's been some exchanges that connote grooming. You know, he's trying to ask her if he knows about sex. He was talking about condom. When I listened to some of the voice notes he sent to this child, I was really disgusted. So yeah, that's where we are now.
Now, I'm not sure how this connects with a cybercrime, but let's talk about pedophilia and the precautions that the government has put in play.
Okay.
And I say this because in yesterday's report, if you might have followed, it was the same instance with a young girl at the age of 4, and what happened to her was on school premises. What is the Nigerian government doing about pedophilia and the policies that should be implemented for not necessarily having a situation where things need to constantly be investigated and prolonged and dragged and all of that? What's the stance? What's the government's stance on pedophilia and crimes against children?
Okay, first, let me clarify on how this relates to cybercrimes. Like the case of the individual who is currently in detention for attempting to lure this 14-year-old girl, into sex. They exchanged electronic messages, and then electronic messages that involves grooming, especially when it involves a girl child with an intent to actually sleep with her, is part of the Cybercrimes Act. Even the Cybercrime Act of 2015 expressly states that, and then the consequences for doing such is about 50 million naira or 3 million naira in fine. Now, going back to the Nigerian state, I think
Sorry, I just need to clarify. The consequences for cyber harassment from minors is 15 million naira. That's the fine?
Yes, that's the fine.
So if a person is
that's
able...
The fine. That's the 2015 Cybercrime Act.
Okay, so if a person is able to pay the fine, do they go off scot-free?
Well, there's a 3-year imprisonment caveat to it, or a 50 million naira fine. But I think there's been a legislation process that have been improved upon that, and then now there's a 2024 Act which says that there's no option of fine, and then it's a life imprisonment.
I see your concerns. I saw your concern there, Inam. Yeah, interesting. So when you say there's a 2024 Act, does this mean that if you are able to pay this 15 million levied against you, you will still go scot-free? Is this still a bill, or has it been put into Act yet?
No, this was 2015, but now there is a 2024 Act.
Please,
right. Yes,
educate
the 2024 Act eliminates the part of the fine.
I apologize.
Yes.
Please educate me what the 2024 Act says.
Specifically.
Okay, I can read it to you expressly.
Please. Yes, please.
Just hold on a bit. Now, here is the, the Cybercrime Act is slightly different from the Child Rights Act. And then now, for me, my own part of the job in this whole scenario is the fact that there's been lewd exchanges of electronic messages between this man who is an adult with a child who doesn't have the agency to give consent. And so, but then when you take the individual to court, you're going to be probably suing on 2 grounds. You're going to be using the Cybercrimes Act of 2015 if it just involves only exchanges of electronic messages and then it stops there. That's when you can sue. And when you sue and then your lawyer uses that to argue in court, the penalty is 3 years imprisonment, and or an option of 50 million naira fine. But then you can also use the Child Rights Act, and then when you argue your case from that perspective, there is actually a penalty of life imprisonment without an option of fine. I hope I've been able to...
I get it. I get it now. I get it.
So this is
2 different acts
two
here.
separate acts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Okay, but I need you to educate me, who is a female, who has got a child, who is a minor, and every other individual that is watching Breakfast Extra today. Because again, like I said, yes, there are 2 different acts. You've quoted the 2015 Act, which speaks to the fine of the 15 million and a possibility, it's not a guarantee, a possibility of 3 years imprisonment. And the reason why I'm asking you this, sir, apologies, is that, remember, you gave me your stance as cybercrime. But if the act does take place and a child is molested, the cyber side of things is the evidence that substantiates the act. It was a premeditated thing, and the act took place. Please, the 2015 Act the 2024 Act that you speak about, please, can you educate us in what that act entails, please?
Well, the 2024 Act is expressly talking about what will happen when the act takes place. Now we are looking at intent, and then to close proximity of what the act says. Intent also means that you've committed the crime. So when you are taken to court, there are just no 2 ways about it. Once there is evidence that establishes the fact that this has happened, you're going straight to jail, and then there's no option of fine. That's what the Child Rights Act of
Expressly
2024
says.
says.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, so you get it
Straight
now. So he's talking about two different acts here. One's the first one, which is based on evidence of the fact that there was interaction
Right.
via text messaging. This is the 2015 Cybercrimes Act, which says that if you are culpable, if you are found guilty of that, you could pay 15 million or go to jail for
Right.
3 years. Now, if that proceeds into action, if any of these communication goes into actual crime, where in this case pedophilia, then it would be the 2024 Act that comes into play here, where there is no option, it's just life imprisonment. Am I correct, Promise?
Yes, exactly. You're
There,
correct.
we've settled that then. We've settled that. So, Promise, I know that this is just only one of many that has happened. We've seen cases that actually go into full-blown criminal activity. And I'm wondering what the stats say about this. How prevalent are these kinds of situations in the Nigerian climate?
Well, in addendum, currently, I think as of 2 days ago, the same task force actually effected the arrest of an individual. Although these ones are not minors, the girl is 23, and then the boy is about, the man rather is about 25 years old. And there were people who were they were lovers before, and then the lady says she was no longer interested. Now, during the course of their relationship, they exchanged some inappropriate videos and pictures or photographs. So this guy has been threatening to release the videos, meaning, of course, you know what I mean, no pictures or videos online if she doesn't continue the relationship. And then when we got, when my office was notified, we did the usual that we're doing. Now, there is a thing around sex, and there's a thing around how the prosecution of the offenders have been over the years. I would say that we haven't paid so much attention to it. Either it's because of how the society doesn't think we should pay so much attention to it, even when there's public outcry, when some of these things happen. I really don't know. But now, for us, in Kogi State, I can't speak for Nigeria. By the day, as much as the cases come, we try to do our best. And when it involves minor, especially, like I said, we don't leave any stone unturned. Now, let me pick out a fact in this whole thing that is going on. The individual that was picked up for trying to, lure this young child, into sex is a member of the All Progressives Congress, APC, a party which I belong to, which is also the ruling party in Kogi State. And if you see, because the government doesn't tolerate this, we look at the laws, we look at protecting the girl child. We are very much focused on bringing the perpetrators of those kind of crimes, to justice, regardless of their political affiliations or wherever it is they come from or their social standing. So now, to the larger society, what we are doing in Kogi State should be more like a mirror for others to follow. By the day, if people speak up, if security agencies take action, if those who are responsible to also enforce most of these laws are doing their own bits, by the second, we'll find a way of ameliorating the menace. Because now, I think these issues are grossly underreported, either because there's no state sanction, or because a lot of people are even scared of coming out. Because while we're prosecuting the case, we have to be assuring the mother not to be afraid. We're giving the child confidence that you're protected, nothing is going to come to you. We also did as much as we could not to expose her, so people don't get access to know her name. So it's to prevent things like bullying at school and all those other things that comes along with it. So it's a wholesome package. There's a part for the general members of the society to do their part. There's also a bit for the government to do their part. There's also, we should also have the political will. I mean, the government apparatus should have a political way of stamping their foot to say, okay, we want to see this to the end. And when we come, because so far in Kogi, since we started this case, we've not seen any political intervention in any way to say, oh, we should stop. This person belongs to this our party. We don't want you to continue the case. Everybody is actually agitating for justice. And I think that it will be done from our end. So I can speak to what we're doing in Kogi, not Nigeria as a whole.
Well, Promise Emmanuel, I want to say thank you very much, and thank you very much to for your blind eye to justice here. It's something that we hope that we see more, especially in Nigeria, where we have such a warped sense of justice. But thank you for the efforts that you're putting, especially for this family. We hope to see justice, and well, we'll continue to follow the story. And maybe other times when we have these kinds of conversations, we'd love to have you, maybe even in person here in the studio, to have that conversation. Thank you very much. Promise.
It's all right. All right. I'll be available. Thank you so much.
Yes, indeed.